But now we move on to COVID and CNN and their flip-flopping. I saw this tweet. We'll get to it in a second from Jake Tapper.
Yeah.
Like they have a scoop.
Breaking
news.
And I mean, I almost just started cutting myself so I could no longer be numb. So do you remember that early on we were talking about how China, this is something we were fact-checked and it was called a conspiracy theory, just like kind of, and this is what's going to happen down the line. Unfortunately, it may happen after another president is whisked into office, which, nope, not. I know everyone says you need to accept the results. I'm probably not gonna. So I hope it doesn't end up being this. I hope that there's actually investigation so we don't end up where we are right now with COVID, where early on we were saying this, we were screaming it from the rooftops. We even did a parody with the Kung Flu fighting and named the people who they now named but didn't talk about before.
Head of the ball.
Now they're admitting that they have the scoop on CNN that China lied. So let's go back into our time-traveling machine where we were talking about China being to blame for the COVID pandemic and how they lied about it. Here you go. But it did originate in Wuhan, and there was a cover-up, and China did not buy us time. They did the opposite of that.
Crazy president.
This isn't just the blame game.
And make no mistake, we hold China fully responsible for concealing the virus and unleashing it upon the world. They could have stopped it. They should have stopped it. Would have been very easy to do at the source.
And I got to tell you, that clip is really hard for audio Wade to watch because there's a buzzing at the White House. Like, just please
help.
replace your XLR cables. So that's what we said, and the president said it. And of course, what did the media do? They said there was no basis in Donald Trump, and of course, all of his supporters by proxy were conspiracy theorists. And they don't say racist, they say xenophobic. But you know what? Tomato, you lie.
We had a White House saying China virus, China virus, China virus. It wasn't the China virus.
The China virus
Tying coronavirus to China and Chinese people isn't just a racist dog whistle. It's a whole racist orchestra.
Trump's been tooting his dog whistle pretty hard by calling it Chinese virus.
What?
Trump,
No,
meanwhile,
China virus.
has a catchy little nickname for the coronavirus. He now calls it the Chinese virus every chance he gets. Because, they say a great way to prevent a virus from spreading is to name it something racist.
Okay, first off, can we pause and go back to Stephen Colbert really quickly?
Oh.
Look at that. He has wooden logs over his wooden log fire.
That's extra logs.
I don't know how to build a fire. How am I going to start this fire? We'll put it over a fire. Thank you, intern.
That works.
Let's make it look more like a fire.
Yeah. Let's put the camera and microphone 30 feet away from him. Stick some. Yeah.
We need space for the fire and the logs.
Also, here's a blind man walking stick.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
ask questions. The focus group said they liked it.
Also, here's millions of dollars.
Here's millions of dollars.
No, that's him trying to find a story.
The intern put in the heavy lifting with the box fire under the fire. We're like, Mr. Colbert, what do you want? Do you want a box fire? Do you want a teepee? I don't know what that means.
That was on CBS.
But I have another check to count like it's a ballot machine. So this is what went on, right? Of course, we said China, of course. Obviously, they're lying about the virus. They're covering it up. It originates from China. Donald Trump, the reason he kept saying China virus was because he was trying to cut through the media saying it has really nothing to do with China.
Right.
We don't know. But now, I scrolled through my timeline yesterday, and I see Jake Tapper beaming from ear to dumbass ear, talking about how they now have a scoop. Turns out, China has been up to some shenanigans.
We have some breaking news for you.
Breaking news!
Oh,
what a dumbass. Kill me.
Inside China. Documents that reveal the missteps and the chaos in the Chinese government's early response to the coronavirus pandemic. The documents are from Hubei province, home to the city of Wuhan, where the pandemic is thought to have started. They show authorities released misleading public data on the number of deaths and the number of cases. They took
No, you released misleading public
to
data.
diagnose a new case and much more. CNN's Nick Payton Walsh is breaking the story for us right now.
China released misleading public data we were warned about by the President of the United States. Alternative media ignored as we continued to disseminate said information as solid fact.
We now go to Trump 8 months ago.
Yeah.
6 months from now. Breaking news! Some ballots may have been compromised.
Yeah, we'll get to it eventually. By the way, China's never done this before. They didn't have a history.
Somebody
of doing
here,
this.
listen, please, someone hire a hitman to murder me so my wife can get the insurance claim. I have just, when I see this breaking news.
Wow.
I thought the fire on a fire was bad. Listen, not only do we make this argument, but do you want to know how even an 11-month-old poll watcher could tell that China was lying about their deaths? This graph. Look at this graph. That is the graph that China gave in total deaths.
Oh, cool.
That's feasible. I think that's feasible.
They stopped having deaths in April. That's
they just
great.
stopped.
Yeah.
Well, no, but it didn't stop. It was then the same level of deaths.
Same number of people, yes.
It didn't go down to 0.
That's right.
Like, oh, what do we do? If we tell them to go down to 0, they're never going to believe us again. I don't know. Keep it at 5, okay? Like 5 variation. What do we want to have margin of error? Plus, just 5. All day. 5. I didn't buy it. Jim Prosciutto, carry our water. American media is so stupid.
And then you remember the stories came out. China has gotten the virus under control. If only the United States would act like this.
And the scary thing is, people often reference Pravda. They talk about media corruption. CNN, China didn't just release these. I don't listen. It's like Damien. You expect Damien to be Satan incarnate, right? You have low expectations of Damien. What I don't expect is the other kid to start breaking heads off pigeons, okay?
Yes.
CNN, you reported it as legit. We know that China, specifically the communist Chinese government, the people are just as oppressed, by the way. My heart goes out to the Chinese people, Chinese government. Wipe them off the face of the map. You reported it as legitimate. We have no expectations of, and you know what? The lesson learned here is we should have the same expectations of our media counterparts as we do of the communist Chinese government. The people who ran over folks with tanks. Yeah, Jake Tapper, you're in good company.
Breaking news: Donald Trump no trust China. China is asshole.
Yes.
Here's something else that's more insidious, because we can see this now and we can laugh at it because they're stupid. But what's worse is, and most Americans don't pay attention to this, is what during that period of time, exactly like we're seeing now with the hearings, exactly like we're seeing now with the evidence being brought forward, the statistical anomalies, the fact that the voting machines and tabulators were connected in an Ethernet cable. It's the stuff that is never covered. And this was an example. We covered it on this show at that point in time. It's not like this is something new. This was the head of the World Health Organization, or the World Health Organization, a representative speaking with someone from Taiwan, completely slam dunking them on the Skype call, acting as though they can't even hear the question. Was never covered in media. This should send chills down your spine. Here.
Will the WHO consider Taiwan's membership? Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
You can do that?
Nothing in the rule book says you can't hang up.
Nothing in the rule book says you don't have to answer any questions or have any accountability when you're ahead of the leading global health organization. You can just imagine all this time when I was on Fox News, or we've changed my minds, or actually people on this show, like politicians who have debated, and I just hear something I don't like or for which I'm ill prepared and just go, I didn't hear you. Well, let me repeat it. No.
Anytime Kayleigh McEnany doesn't call on whoever's from CNN or whoever, then the press gets like furious. But this is totally fine.
That's the worst answer in the world, too, by the way. I didn't hear your question. Oh, I'll repeat it. No, we can move on. Like that tells you that you heard the question.
Do you know what that is? That's someone, like in hockey, you used to have people like this who people didn't like. There was a guy like Mario Lemieux was a player. People who know him. Again, we want to see you commenting here to see if this helps with the YouTube algorithms because they're screwing with search results. Allegedly, completely unfounded, baseless allegations. But Mario Lemieux was one of the best puck handlers, right, in the game. He was very, very skilled, but he was also a pushing boy. So he would always look to the ref for someone to step in. Like, come on! These people are like, oh, foul! Well, in hockey, you don't really get fouls. You can't go out of bounds, right? That sort of remedies itself pretty quickly. At least it did in the 90s. That's what you see with that leader of the World Health Organization. You only say, I didn't hear the question, if you expect someone else to step in and to do your work for you. There is no point when I would be sitting with someone who is taking an adversarial position in the realm of political or philosophical debate where I would ever feel comfortable saying, well, I didn't hear the question. Because I know that would be followed immediately by, let me repeat it.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't think that would happen because these people aren't used to being called to the mat ever.
Yeah.
This really comes, you want to boil this problem down when we're talking about this election, Joe Biden, China, the coronavirus, the track records that Biden has had in 67 years in office. Fact check that, Politico, even though you'll let Jake Tapper go on with his breaking news. Kamala Harris, her track record on criminal justice, all of these problems, they're manifestations of the same disease, and that's a complete lack of accountability. No one calls them on it.
Yeah. And this was important at the time because we had Taiwanese doctors that were trying to give data to the world and say, hey, here's some information about what's going on with this virus, and they were rejected because of that, right? So that was the whole thing. It wasn't just her trying to like jab Taiwan at this guy.
They were trying to warn China, by the way, Taiwan before that, about how China was lying about no human transmission. It's like when, I don't know if anyone ever actually still does this anymore, but you put a check into the ATM or you go to the bank, you have to deposit it, but you didn't put it in the right way. Or you put money in a vending machine and they're like, hey, listen, it actually can be transmitted from human to human. They put it in and it goes, rejected.
Yeah, that's Taiwan every time.
With China.
Well, yeah. Well, with the world now.
And by proxy, CNN and the NBA.
WHO.
You can't warn people if you don't exist.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's true. It's very hard.
Whatever happened to being against denying people's existence? Apparently, if I say, wait, hold on a second. Ellen Page just became Elliot. Give me a second to get used to it. I'm denying their existence. But when someone says, effectively, to the nation of Taiwan, I didn't hear your question and I won't respond to it, we don't care. And of course, they deny these claims from Taiwan. Why? Because they don't recognize them as a country. Exactly. They do not even recognize Taiwan as a country.
Because of China. China will not allow it.
Right. China will not allow the World Health Organization to recognize Taiwan as a country, nor will Disney.
Right, and because the World Health Organization is so afraid of China, they're crippled. They can't do anything. That was panic in that guy's face. He tried to hide it. He hung up. Yeah.
And do you know who else said that their reputation is beyond stellar? The World Health Organization. Got no strings to Fauci.
Oh, Fauci.
So you've got Fauci saying World Health Organization is the most unbelievable global organization leader in health that we've ever seen. What about Johns Hopkins? Screw them. They believe men are men.
Yeah. The experts say
he's a real boy. Hold on a second. Hey, Fauci, you're an expert, right? I have worked in epidemiology my whole life. Can we bring that back up again, that graph? Like, hey, Fauci, you're an epidemiologist. What about this graph? What happened here? Well, you know what? Nope, checks out.
Speaking of a remake of Flatliners.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
We had this in our song, the Kung Flu Fighting parody.
Yeah.
Remember the whistleblower? It was Li Wenliang. Li Wenliang was trying to get the whistle blown.
Oh, yeah.
What was the lyric after that?
He said, here come the virus. now he's gone.
Which we thought was distasteful because they murdered him.
Yeah.
We were like, hey, we're kind of worried about the fact that we're making a joke about this whistleblower who's disappeared because it's sad his family will never see him again. But we realized unless we shoehorn that into a silly parody, you wouldn't know about it.
Watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.